What's up, you guys? It's Brent from the Glue Guys. YouTube cadence and everything. This is an old upload or an old interview with Jeff Green that are uploading to YouTube for the first time. You know, we're starting to do more YouTube stuff, so hope you enjoy. It was a treat. He's a very sweet man. Lots to like in here. So yeah, smush the follow, smash the like, all that good stuff. Thanks. We were just talking about you played a game, we're up late, and then doing media in the morning. We don't do anything physical and are still tired.
Hey, I was on the elliptical last night for a solid 40 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm exhausted too.
Your whole body was buzzing.
Yeah. But yeah, so so we're recording this at 10 o'clock. Is 10 o'clock early for you as a player? No,
not with somebody who has, I have two daughters. So my wife, she gets up pretty early, gets them ready, and then we walk them to school. So we just got back from walking them to school. That's why I actually do it at 10. So the girls get up pretty early at 7:30, and I hear them, but I try to, stay asleep for another hour.
So what are the ages? So I have a 2.5 and a 5-month-old at this point. So you are past Paw Patrol and all that realm, or were you ever in the Paw Patrol vortex?
My oldest is getting out of that a little bit. My youngest is into Paw Patrol, very much so.
Yeah.
My oldest she's about to be 4 on next Sunday, and then my youngest is 2.
So if you were a Paw Patrol character, who would you be? No, I won't ask you that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When it's on, I pay attention. I know one of them is very clumsy. He always falls at the beginning. I'm not sure his name.
That's Marshall.
That's
Marshall,
the
firefighting.
Yeah, I'll pick Marshall. I think Marshall's pretty cool.
Mike's deep in the lore.
Pretty deep in it. We're in the dino stage of. So, anyways, we should talk some basketball and some stuff. So obviously we're excited to talk to you this morning because last night you started for the Nets. Yeah. You were the starting center. I wanted to ask you this. So as fans, we constantly talk about how Jeff Green can just move to the 5, right? You can just play small ball 5 and that's easy, right? Can you tell us what it's like as a guy who's been a wing his whole life and now is suddenly a center?
No, I'm actually going to be honest with you. My freshman year in college is when it all started for me as being this versatile player who can play every position. Coach Thompson at Georgetown, he made me expand my game. High school, I was just the athletic guy who could just dunk and run the floor very well. And when I got to Georgetown, he made me start to work on my handles, because within the Princeton offense, you got to be able to handle the ball, be able to pass. And then my freshman year, I started at the 5. So playing this 5 position has been instilled in my game since college. It's just a little different when you get to the NBA. But now, when I first got into the NBA, it was a little different because back then in 07, it was definitely, you had Shaq was the starting 5. Right. I don't think I would have started at the 5 back then.
That's a tough guard.
Yeah. Yes, but the game has changed dramatically in the sense of guys being able to play 1 through 5, 1 through 4. So it's at this point, it's easy for me to adjust, to switch up the coverages, to guard different positions. So it's something I'm used to at this point in my career. But at first, when I first got to the NBA and I had to make that adjustment, it was a little difficult.
I mean, we've seen there's a lot of guys who kind of famously don't want to play the 5 as much. Anthony Davis, or Anthony Davis likes to have a center next to him for bulks of the game.
Yeah.
What is it about the position, about playing still in the center in the NBA? It's not the Shaq days, right? Like you said.
Yeah, no.
It's still tough though. I mean, it's still not easy.
Playing 5. It's definitely tough. It's definitely tough, especially when you got say for instance, example, Philly. Joel Embiid. Who's at the 5. I don't know how much Joel weighs, but he's close to 300. But he's
Right.
strong, and having to bang with him every play with a guy who's getting the ball every play in the post, it's tough. When I was guarding Bam Adebayo in Miami, it's tough. And but I look at it as that's just one side of the floor. At the other side, they have to come on the perimeter and guard me as well. So you have to be smart. You have to really try to that's what film come into play. Like we watch a lot of film. I try to study who we're playing. And over the years, you tend to learn guys and what they like, and that's what I try to use to my advantage of knowing what guys like, what they don't like, how I can use this matchup to my advantage, the speed, the anything that's possible to try to help our team win. But at the end of the day, like I always tell my guys, like it's a team thing. Don't rely on me to just get these stops all the time.
You're not the Embiid stopper that you're not. That's not
at all.
Coach Nash isn't saying to you before the game, "Hey Jeff, we need you to lock down Embiid.
Shut it down.
8 points, 4 rebounds. Do it for us." I mean, that's what's great. Like people act like the center is dead, but if you look, is Giannis a center? And then Jokic and Embiid, and there's guys out there that are still worthy.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Joel, you look at Jokic, you look at Andre Drummond, who's getting 20-20s, every other game. Even Jared Allen, who was just here, is a really good center. Vooch in Orlando, who's a really good center. You have centers. I think it's just because the game has grown where you have guys just playing multiple positions. And when you say center, you only think of one position. There's only, a handful of those guys who just play that position. But around the league, you have guys who play multiple. I think that's why people say that it's kind of fading away, but I don't think it is.
So who do you like? Do you watch Draymond's the guy everyone thinks about as being the sort of the shorter center. Do you try to pick up things from them, or are you just are you talking a lot about film? Are you really more analyzing the opponent than trying to replicate someone else's game?
Yeah. Just more analyzing the opponent, trying to see what those guys like. With Joel, he likes to sweep through, move to look for the foul.
That's a Brooke Lopez special. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, Brooke. He does. When he was here in Brooklyn, he did it a lot. Now because of the game, he changed his game where he's shooting a lot more threes. But that was his thing when he was here in Brooklyn, when he played on the post a lot. He got to the free throw line 10 times a game off that. So I just watch to study the opponent, to study what they like to do.
How much of the strategy when you're watching tape is about seeing what they want to do that's low efficiency or something that they maybe don't do particularly well, and then kind of goading them or tempting them into that kind of thing? I always wonder how much because Embiid likes to shoot straightaway threes. He's not especially efficient at it. How do you coax that out of him?
Well, it's hard, based off the run of the game on how it's going. You can't really force him to take those shots,
right.
But you can bait him into those shots, depending on how the game is going, and whether or not they're in transition, whether or not he's the last one back. That's probably the easiest way. If he's the last one back when he's trailing the play, where he's catching at the top, you can kind of bait him into taking those shots. I mean, he might hit a couple, but sometimes you have to live with those things. And you can force players sometimes to do what you want, but sometimes it's hard. You just have to. That's why film come into play, knowing what they like and just trying to take that away.
See, I love that we're talking about defense. I'm sure you guys hear, because so much of the chatter is obviously you have Harden, Durant, Kyrie. Offense is that. There should be no problems on offense, and everyone talks about the defense. And I have League Pass, and what's cool about League Pass is that once the game goes to commercial and you guys sit down, on the bench, it puts the camera on you guys, and you can see the conversation happening, which you don't see in the TV broadcast. You don't see the conversation amongst players. And it seems like just from body language and me trying to read lips, it seems like you're talking about defense a lot of the time on the bench. How much of a focus is the defense, knowing that like the offense is there already? How much are you guys trying to figure out the defensive aspect of the game?
Yeah, no, and I would definitely agree. Like 90% of our conversation in the huddle during timeout is about defense. And it's tough because when you have a team like us who's very versatile, who can obviously switch 1 through 5, you're going to have teams to do schemes that can try to, you know, take away what we're trying to do as far as on the defensive end. And there, I mean, and that's the NBA. It's hard to guard 1-on-1. I'm going to say that right now. Like it's no one person in this league who can guard 1-on-1 and stop everybody 1-on-1. Mm-hmm. And based off the different personnel, game in and game out, it's tough. You know, you're going to have cross matches where Kyrie may end up on Joel Embiid. And it's tough. You can't take certain things away. You have to figure out what you're going to live with and figure out what you're going to try to take away. But some nights, like against Washington, with a guy like Russell, who's like my closest friend, based off percentages, he's not shooting the 3 well.
Yeah, well, but was against fucking hitting those shots.
Yeah, exactly. Against us, like Kai said it after the game against Washington, like, we're going to get teams' best shots. Teams are going to make a lot of shots for some reason against us. And that night in particular against Washington, Russell just happened to be on and make what? I think he made 4 or 5 threes and happened to hit his last one to put him at 1 at the end of the game. And that's something that we just have to live with. And I mean, with his percentages, it's like, all right, you want to shoot him, go ahead. Right. But if he makes them, it's like, oh man, it's tough. It's going to be a tough night. And it's just how it happens sometimes. But 90% of the time, that is our focus, is defense.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited. I mean, even though the Nets lost, like, I was excited to see Russell play at that level because he had been out with some injury, and there were people beginning to talk about, what is he going to look like going forward, because he's had injuries. But he obviously he looked like pretty much older Russell.
Yeah, Russell.
Yeah, and I actually, even though the Wizards' record isn't very good, I know you used to play for the Wizards, I think it's kind of a bad matchup for you guys because they can score. Like, they're one of the few teams that can put up buckets in the way against you guys. Like, there's other teams I don't think in the NBA that, even though maybe your defense isn't, top 5 or what, it isn't at that level, they'll never be able to score, at the frequency. Exactly. I mean, we saw last night against the Clippers, like, there was a sequence where I think it was Harden hit a 3, Kyrie hit a 3, and then
KD hit a 3.
Yeah, and it was just like boom, 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 excellence, excellence, excellence. As someone on the floor with them in those moments, you played with, KD and Russ and Harden. Yeah. What is it like now playing with them when you're all at this stage in your career as opposed to, back in the day?
Well, I love it. I mean, at this point, it's one common goal, and that's to win a championship. Back then, it was, man, I got to figure out a way to get my name going, get my brand going. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's how it always is. Like, when you're young, you're trying to make a statement, especially with KD. With everything that was coming towards him out of college, as far as Seattle being his team, Seattle OKC being his team. The pressure is going to come to him. So he had to distance himself from the rest of us, as far as that's our guy, that's the go-to guy. And it was, he had to make a name for himself. At this point, 14 years in, we're like, hey man, like, he did what he did. I went my route and got to this point, 14 years. I just want to win a championship, and that's all we care about. Like, I mean, you see the change in James's game. People question whether or not he was going to be able to change how he played in Houston to how we play in Brooklyn. And I mean, he's been playing amazing. Like, I mean, triple doubles, and he's not selfish as people thought he was going to be. Is wanting the shots, and as everybody say, dribble, dribble, dribble. He hasn't done that at all, unless he had to. And if he had to, it's because he was like, hey, go get a bucket. And at this point, like I said, like we just want to win a championship. Myself, KD, James, Kyrie, and down the line of the rest of this team, like we just want to win. Opposed to when we first came in, it was like, hey, like I'm trying to establish myself, get a name for myself. I'm trying to make All-Star. I'm trying to get MVP. These accolades, individual accolades, I'm trying to get. Okay, cool. And now I just want to win. I just want to win a championship.
Yeah, and to that, since you guys joined back up again, there's a video that's been popping around.
Oh, no.
I have the video.
Oh,
I'm gonna pull it up for a second.
Oh wow, you're gonna really.
I'm gonna bring it up. Let's see if I can get it on. You guys can probably see yourselves here. Oh, 1 second, as I technically try to figure this out. I'll pull this up. So you maybe won't even see it now. Do you see the video, Jeff?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, I won't play it. I mean, I'll play the video a little bit. So give the people what was going on here. So what I'm talking about, you probably can't see it because it's a podcast. It's you, James, and KD in a hotel room performing "Say Aah."
I'm be honest.
Just looking into a camera. Tell me about
TikTok before TikTok, man.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We were young. I think I was like, I had to be 20, 21, 22. KD was 19. James was 19. Like we couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We would go to these cities, and we would go to. Once we get there, we would go to the mall. Then we go out to eat. Then it'd be like, all right, what are we gonna do? And it'd be like, I don't know. And then, like, this song came out. It was "Hot Song" by Trey Songz. It was like,
yeah,
man, we was messing around in the hotel, like just playing around, and we start, singing the song, and then we started recording it. And KD was actually, he did all the effects and all that stuff. But it was just something that we just
cool
did.
Effects, Jeff. They were real fire.
I was just thinking about, remember going to the mall. My God, like just like spending a day at the mall, man. What a life.
Yeah, we used to do that every city. Go to the mall, go get something to eat,
100%,
and then go back to the hotel. But
is that because you guys were not old enough to go out to the a club?
Exactly, exactly. We couldn't,
so you brought the club to the hotel.
They couldn't drink. Mm-hmm. They couldn't drink. I wasn't a big drinker. It was like, all right, what are we gonna do? And we had a young team. Russ was on that team, Serge was on that team, so we were all young. And that day, I think we did that video and like one other one. I don't know what the other one was, but this one is super popular now. Now that we're all together, we talk about it. We talked about it a couple of times, but they were like, "You got to do it again." I'm like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that again."
Oh, you have.
No way,
oh, wow.
You got to update it in some way. I mean, like KD particularly looks like a baby. Like he looks, and Harden doesn't have the full beard. Like he's like early stages of beard.
Yeah. No.
Do you know what city were you in at that point? Do you know?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know. If I had to guess, I would say probably San Antonio or something.
What is your favorite mall of all the ones you've been to?
Wow, big question.
Yeah, this is the biggest one of the show. So
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been to a mall in so long now.
I know.
Mall of America.
No, I didn't even like that. That's the one in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, with the roller coaster.
I didn't like that one. I'm gonna be honest, I like the one in Orlando is pretty good. That's the only one I can remember. The other ones I don't even really know.
They're probably all the same. They all have Chick-fil-A's in them.
Yeah, you got the Foot Locker, you got the Panda Express.
The Foot Locker and all that other good stuff. But I don't even go to the mall anymore. Order online, baby.
Hit up Spencer's if you're feeling frisky.
Well, let me ask you. So you did play obviously with, Harden's like rise from sixth man to MVP. It's pretty incredible, and it's always hard for me to figure. You watch him play basketball, you understand why he's so dynamic offensively, but he's not that big. He is quick, super quick, but he's not like overwhelmingly. He's not like John Wall, right? Like John Wall is or Russ, if we're talking about guards. So like, what is it about Harden that has allowed him to become sort of this, one of the great frankly, offensive players in the history of the NBA. What does he have that gives him that ability?
I mean, the guy he's shifty, he's creative. You know, it helps that he can really, really shoot. You know, he can dribble, he has handle, he has vision. I mean, you name it, he has it. He has a total package. Like you said, he may not look, you know, like the guy who can do all this with the physique. You know, he's not ripped, he's not super quick, you know, he's not super athletic, but he gets it done. And I mean, he has everything you can ask for in an NBA player. You know, the shooting, the creativeness, the vision, you know, the passing ability. Um, I mean, you name it. He has it, man. His IQ. He's smart. So,
You know what's
you know,
funny about him is because he has played so different coming on the Nets, like, and
yeah,
it's not discussed enough because again of how he played in Houston and how he's playing so differently immediately in Brooklyn. But he's shooting open threes now, and I can't remember for the life of him like really shooting
man,
open threes.
that happened last night.
Yes.
We were on the bench, and it was me and TLC, I believe, and he somebody swung it to him. He was like, "Holy shit!" That's the first time we ever seen him shoot a catch and shoot three.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I
It was
seen
like
him
top
shoot
of
a
the
catch and shoot
key.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, top of the key. And then there was another time he shot a mid range, and like we went crazy on the bench. He's like, "Oh my god, he's shooting mid range! Like this is." Looked at Mike D'Antoni, was like, "He can do it. Like it's possible." So it's I mean that's just the effect of the opposing weapons, the weapons that we have. You know, we have so many guys who can do so much. I mean, the things are going to come easy.
What is it is hard. So like you have the reason why we're doing this at 10 a.m. is that you do have practice at 2 p. But like you can't get that
Yeah,
much practice in right during the season.
yeah.
So how have you guys been trying to go about getting that chemistry? Is it only like is it basically like you just have to play the games and kind of run through the schedule and try to figure it out as you guys go along? Because I think
Yeah,
people
that's
believe that you all practice more, have the
no,
ability to practice more than you do, which you don't have the ability to do so.
no. People are wrong. We haven't had time with travel and our schedule. We haven't had time to practice at all. I can honestly say since the trade, we probably had one to two
Wow.
two practices. I mean, because of COVID, because
Yeah.
of the things that we have to deal with, with travel, and the games are feeling like back to backs right now. I mean, we this is our first time today and tomorrow that we had 2 games 2 days in between a game since maybe what, Christmas maybe.
Hmm.
We've been
Yeah, I think
playing
that's
every
right.
other day, so it's been tough for us to really get in the gym to really be like, hey, let's focus on what we can do, how we can get better. Let's run through this. Let's run through that. Let's get James acclimated with what we're trying to do right here. Let's get him acclimated on this side. Like I forgot who said it the other day, but we feel the same way. Like these games have become our practices. It sounds weird to say, but I mean, it is what it is. Like we've
Hmm.
had to use these games to try to get on the same page, build chemistry. And I mean, so much can come from understanding somebody off the court as, having conversations, sitting down, talking with them. But, having practice and, having that dialogue on the court and walking through stuff can help in many ways, but not having that opportunity to do it has really like made us to focus on watching film. And then, all right, we play Atlanta tonight. All right, let's try to acclimate this into what we're trying to do so we can get used to it for down the line. And that's how it's been.
I know Brian has to go soon. He has a business meeting coming up,
No,
right,
it's not
Brian?
good.
So,
Blow my spot.
Brian, was there anything that you want? No, making you look good.
Mm.
Was there anything that you wanted to ask Jeff before we let him go that was on your mind, or should we just? Because I had I had 2 more questions for Jeff, if that works.
Yeah, I'm good. I got 5 more minutes.
Okay. All right. Because like I do think what's been helping you guys is that there is so much overlap in terms of like you played in Houston with Harden last year, right?
Hmm.
Totally different situation, but you played with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, you played with KD. Uh, Did you play when you were in Cleveland? Did you play with Kyrie? Was that a Kyrie season?
No, Kyrie, that's the year he left. He
Okay,
went to
that's
Boston.
okay. So not with Kyrie. So Kyrie is the one that maybe there's less sort of connective tissue like throughout the roster in terms of that way. But obviously, you know, he played basketball actually with the Nets last year.
Mm-hmm.
What are like, I mean, what are the actual things that you hope to have work on in the games as a unit? Like, are there things that you all are trying to definitely figure out together, like the top few goals? Because I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, we have a couple of things. You know, for me, it's it's the offensive side of trying to figure out spots because we have so many interchangeable lineups. Is without practice and using games, you got to figure out on the fly. Like, all right, if I'm the five and we have KD, Kyrie, James, and Joe, and I'm the five, the perimeter is all taken, all the slides. So it's like I got to figure out where's the spots that I can help the team. When DJ is the five and I'm the four, I got to figure out ways to help the team. When KD and Kyrie are out, and maybe it's James, and at the point with DJ and me and TLC and Sham, like we got to figure out, all right, what can we run? What can we do? So those are the things that, like for me, down the line, I got to figure out, all right, if I'm at the five here, how can I play here? What can I do here? So many things like that goes on through my mind. I'm like, all right, I need to figure this out because there's no telling of who we play based on their the opposing team personnel, where I might be. So I got to figure out, all right, I got to know my spots. I got to know where I can be, how I could be effective, how they're going to play, where I can be on the floor to space the floor to make it easier for Kyrie, James, and KD, and even Joe. So it's a lot of interchangeable things that's a game to game basis that I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out, and the only way I can do it is by playing.
I'll ask you one last question. So you are known for dunking on people. You're one of the best in-game dunkers. It doesn't have to be your favorite in-game dunk, but you could tell me that. What is it? What is a dunk that in your career that still like sticks in your mind as like, that was a good fucking dunk. That felt good when I did that.
You're up late,
Man,
laying in bed
I get this
thinking
a lot. Man, I get this like a lot.
This question.
Yeah. I don't have just one. Like every year in my career I've had a dunk that I was like, damn, like I just like did that.
Do you like black out when it happens? Like, do you like Will Ferrell in Old School? Like, I just black. Like, do you like? Because they're so electric and they come out of nowhere. It's not like, yeah.
No,
it's not, you know what I mean? Like, do you like? Does your mind go blank? You're like, I'm just dunked on the entirety of the Los Angeles Lakers right now. Does that happen?
No, actually, because of my demeanor, like I'm so like reserved and calm. Like I don't really react. It's more so like afterwards, like we get in the locker room, like damn, like I just did that. Like yeah, like all right, I can still do it. Like when I got the one in the preseason against Boston, it was like everybody was like, oh my god, like, you can still jump. Like yeah, like, I can really still do this. Yeah, but like there was something that stick out. Like when I was in Cleveland in the preseason, like who was like one of my closest friends, Yami Himi. I got him in Washington. My rookie year, I dunked on Yao Ming.
Oh yeah.
Good.
I want to say it was the second year. I got I think it was Robin, who was in Phoenix. Robert Lopez. I got him down the middle with my left hand. Everybody remembers the Al Jefferson one. When I was in Boston. I got Jermaine O'Neal. Another one of my close friends. I got him a couple times. Victor Oladipo.
It's not like when you have a whole mixtape in your head, is what you have.
I have a whole mixtape, like a good. Like I had to tell Reggie, our rookie. Like I had to tell him, like I had to really sit him down. Like, look, you're looking at a guy who this is my 14th year. Like you're looking at a guy in his 14th year who can still jump. So just imagine me, like 7 years ago. Like where I would just jump. Like I told him, I said I used to average 2 offensive fouls a game because I used to try to just jump and dunk on people from anywhere on the court. And I don't think he really understood. So I was like, yo, go YouTube me.
Yeah, gotta
Like,
make him
this is
understand.
what you
Gotta
do.
understand,
Yeah,
Reggie.
yeah.
And he's
You
like,
gotta
I only know
understand.
TikTok, so I don't know what I don't know YouTube.
Exactly. Like I really had to like tell him, like, you know, but like I've had I don't like to, I'm not like a bragger or anything, but I really
That's
had
what you're
a
here for.
lot
Come
of
on. You know.
yeah. I really had a lot of dunks on people that I'm like, when I look back, it's like, damn, like I had that one too. Like I had one when I was with Boston, we were in Houston on Carlos Delfino, like right down the middle.
That's
like it
that's
was
a
like
shout of that's an old name from the past, Carlos
Yeah.
yeah,
Delfino. Come on,
exactly.
man.
So like I've had a lot of dunks, a lot of highlights, man. And it's and I mean I wouldn't say I'm known for it, but to have that respect to in the league to like when my peers are like we played Washington the other day when I had to dunk down the middle and Ish Smith, like he was in the game and he was in the bottom wing. He was supposed to rotate over and stop me. And like 2 plays down, we was at the free throw line. He's like, man, there was no way I was coming over there. When you get up in the Statue of Liberty, I still see it every time. Like to have that respect to know like people like they know that's like one of my things. You know,
it's a good thing.
That's a good thing. You know,
Yeah.
you know, being 14 years in and you know done what I've gone through in my career. You know, it's definitely a blessing. I'm definitely thankful for it.
To me, it's a more exciting play than the Trae Young jump backwards into the defender play. But I sorry, I said it. I appreciate Jeff. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you, and hopefully you can have as many dunks in the NBA Finals as the Nets win the championship. That's what we're going for.
Yes, that's where it's most important. That's what I'm looking forward to.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Right on,
No
man.
problem.
Thank you, Jeff.
No problem.